Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to everybody who is here in person. Thank you so much for coming out. And to those of you who are watching on live stream. And you could hear the emotion in my voice. Today is a day to celebrate and also to give thanks. It is a day to recognize Dr. Andrew Weil, Andy, to all of us. For his vision, for his leadership, and for his legacy. I'm Dr. Victoria Mazes, and I'm the Executive Director of the Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine. Thank you. Thank you. To begin today's ceremony, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge that the University of Arizona is on the land and territories of indigenous peoples. Today, Arizona is home to 22 federally recognized tribes, with Tucson being home to the Odom and the Yaqui. Committed to diversity and inclusion, the university strives to build sustainable relationships with sovereign Native nations and indigenous communities through education offerings, partnerships, and community service. I'd like to thank Mary Redhouse for her beautiful music. Thank you so much, Mary. Mary is a member of the Dene Navajo tribe, and she's a long-standing friend of our center. She often performs for us at our fellows' graduation ceremonies. So I'd like to begin today's event by honoring my teacher, mentor, colleague, and friend, Dr. Andrew Weil. We're all here because of you, Andy, because of your vision. Whether you are a patient who needed integrative medical care, or you're a health professional who sought out integrative medicine training, or you are a leader or a philanthropist who partnered with Andy and the center because you believe that there was something missing from the practice of medicine and saw the potential for healing our healthcare system in Andy's vision. We're here to recognize and acknowledge Andy's incredible contributions and the building that will make his vision yet more tangible and enduring. Andy has the great good fortune to see his life's work transform healthcare. And the University of Arizona has been ground zero for integrative medical education. Our world-renowned fellowship and our residency education training programs are training more than 1,000 fellows and residents each year. And we're in every state in the United States, 26 countries, and at more than 100 residencies worldwide. Andy, that's a far cry from starting with 4 fellows each year. We are also training allied health professionals and increasingly the public. And now it's my pleasure and honor to invite up our university's president, Dr. President Robbins.
Thank you, Dr. Mays. Thank you for keeping that introduction short, because no one wants to hear from anyone except you, Andy. So unfortunately, these remarks, there are a few cards here, but there's a lot to cover because this has been a long time coming, and we want to take our time and enjoy this today. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here and watching on the live stream. Welcome to all of our distinguished guests, elected officials, local partners, Regent Mata from the Arizona Board of Regents, and leaders from the university and staff. And Regent Mata and I were just discussing how we both have been fans of Andy's for well over 20 years. And we'll get into that more as the day goes on. In 1994, Dr. Weil made medical history when he established the world's first program in integrative medicine right here at the University of Arizona. And you may talk about why you chose the University of Arizona, but that's another story. Now, almost 30 years later, I am pleased and proud to announce that this incredible program finally will have a home worthy of its global impact and reputation. We're gathered here today on the future site of the new building for the Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine. As much as Andy and I tried, and I'll tell a little story at the end here of how we got here, or at least what my part in this was. I would also like to give my gratitude to the many donors who supported this project. Our generous community of supporters came together to recognize the importance of integrative medicine and raised $23 million to make this happen. Thank you all. Many of the lead donors are here. I want to especially thank Iris Cantor, Ryan Fisher, and the RSB and Gerald Cantor Foundation for your lead commitment of $5 million to support this project. And Ryan, you're here. Could you stand up? I'm very sorry that Iris couldn't be here. We had many great discussions. JP and I had lunch with her in New York City, and then I went to see her in Palm Beach, and we just couldn't be more appreciative of the support that the foundation's given us. I'd also like to thank Humberto and Zarina Lopez, the Diamond Family Foundation, and Helene. Thank you for being here, and I know how important Andy's work was to your parents, and so thank you for your support from your family's foundation. Oh, I do see Bert there. We had a seat for you up here, Bert. So, Bert, you made it. Thank you for your support. And Norma Lawler family for committing $1 million also to this project. So thank you all for your support. And finally, I'd like to thank Karen and Stephen Malkin and their family for $250,000 commitment to the project, plus supporters like Jolita Leonis, along with all who have contributed to establish this tangible presence of integrated wellness right here on the University of Arizona Health Sciences campus. Andy, we are all so grateful for your vision that you brought integrative medicine to the University of Arizona and to the world. It just was centered here. And for this transformational support. As I've said before, in the long run, we're all going to live longer, but we need to have quality of life. This center is part of the university's goal of enabling discoveries that will fundamentally shape how we live and work. Following Andy's advice, we will live longer, healthier lives that are more productive and more fulfilling. I'm so excited to have the University of Arizona as the epicenter for integrative medicine. Integrative medicine is the future of healthcare. It truly is. It's already helps provide better outcomes at lower costs. It's better to prevent disease before they begin than to not follow Andy's advice and show up seeing someone like Mike Abacasas or me and having a big operation. Better to prevent disease. We also need to revitalize our general education so that our students have financial competency, cultural competency, and certainly medical competency. And so the lessons of Andy, I hope, will permeate into our general education curriculum for all of the 50,000 students here at the university. I'm looking forward to seeing the impact that the center will have on our campus, and I'm so grateful to Andy and for everyone who's here who made this possible. So before I stop speaking, as Regent Mata and I were discussing, I had been a huge fan, as Linda had been over the years, decades. And as we were working together with David Spiegel and others at Stanford to establish an integrative medicine program at Stanford, we kept coming back to looking toward Tucson and to Andy and his work. So when I finally got the chance to meet him, being the fanboy that I was, I said, I can't wait, Andy, to come to your center, to see your incredible center. He said, don't get carried away there, buddy. We can go find one of these little houses off the street. And I said, well, that's outrageous. We need a center for you. And so thankfully, my friend, it will be right here. You see the renderings. It is going to be spectacular. So thank you very much, Andy, for hanging in there with me. I'm sorry we couldn't get this done sooner, but better late than never. Thank you.
You know, to make something like this happen, you need to have support from leadership. So you just heard of the amazing support we've had from President Robbins. We also have had incredible support from our first dean, Jim Dolan, and from, yes. Maybe Andy will share a story or two, but I know that Dr. Dolan, you took a lot of flack, so I'm so happy that you're here today. And from our current dean, Dr. Michael Abacasis, who's going to come and speak now.
Thank you. So good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of everybody at the College of Medicine, Tucson, I want to thank the generous donors and university leadership for their support of this new center and congratulate Dr. Weil, Dr. Mazes, Dr. Sternberg, and others at the Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine for reaching this incredibly important milestone. There are few things as rewarding as seeing a vision begin to take shape and become a reality. The growth of integrative medicine into an internationally recognized program has been nothing short of exceptional. With ever-increasing numbers of healthcare providers and wellness practitioners learning and understanding the merits of integrative medicine, and with millions of patients across the world benefiting from it. Care for the whole person, not just treatment of an injury or illness, is what integrative medicine strives for, as well as optimizing wellness and preventing disease in the first place, as we just heard from our president. This new facility will embody those principles and provide a legacy for Andy's pioneering work in this field. We are extremely proud that the center and its faculty, educators, and researchers are part of the College of Medicine, Tucson. Thank you very much.
So I'd now like to introduce our research director, Dr. Esther Sternberg, who will come up and talk to you a little bit about this remarkable building.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Victoria, and thank you, Andy, for everything. This complex of buildings, because it's not just one building, you see some pictures there, will be a true oasis on this campus. It will be a flagship for integrative health and integrative medicine around the world. The mind, body, and spirit buildings and the surrounding gardens will embody, just as you said, Dean Abacasis, will embody the 7 core areas of integrative health and will encourage people to have both physical health and emotional well-being. The organic shape of the building will blend with nature, and the surrounding gardens will encourage people to be out in nature. There will be many different kinds of spaces for people to walk, work, gather, learn, and contemplate. And there'll be a teaching kitchen, as you can see there, where Andy will teach everyone how to eat healthy. And the narrow footprint of the building that the architects have designed, wonderful line and space architects, will allow bright sunlight, circadian light, to come into the workspaces, so important for sleep, but also will be shaded from the desert heat. And in this post-COVID era, it is so important to design well-being workplaces. And this will be a beacon for all. It will help people maintain resilience against stress, against viral infection. I want to especially thank the New Building Advisory Committee, which consisted of thought leaders in the design professions and building science, including our own Dean of the College of Architecture, Planning, and Landscape Architecture, Nancy Pollock-Elwand, several of her faculty, and importantly, the Director of High Performance Federal Green Buildings, Kevin Campshire, who is the Chief Sustainability Officer for the federal government and is leading the post-COVID reentry for over 1 million office workers for over 370 million square feet of civilian office space. So we had the best of the best to advise us in both balancing design for well-being and design for sustainability and post-COVID design for post-COVID reentry. So with that, I want to thank all of you who supported this amazing project.
Thank you, Esther. And now the man who needs no introduction at all, the reason we're all here, Dr. Andrew Weil.
Thank you, Victoria, and thank you all for coming. I think it is, as happy as I am about the commencement of the building, I am equally happy to see so many old friends here and people I've known for so long. And I want to begin by acknowledging Dr. Jim Dolan, who was Dean of the College of Medicine when I had the idea for the program here. He was the first medical school dean to go out on a limb and allow something of this sort to start at a College of Medicine. And as Victoria said, he did indeed take a lot of heat for allowing witchcraft to take place at the University of Arizona. Many of you know that I am here because my car broke down in Arizona in 1973. I was on my way to South America. It took 6 weeks to get the car fixed. It was February, a very warm, wet winter. The desert was in full bloom. I met people I liked very much, and I never left. I never would have imagined growing up in Philadelphia that I would end up in Tucson, Arizona. But it has turned out to be a very good place for me, as has the University of Arizona. Although I have to say that until Bobby Robbins became president, never did I have the support of the administration of this university. And I think it was 2 days before you took office, you asked to have dinner with me. And you started off by saying you could not believe that the university had not seen all these years what an asset they had here and had not fully supported it, and you pledged to make a building possible and really make the Center for Integrative Medicine a priority. So thank you very much. That's been wonderful. I've often been asked, at what point in your career did you convert to this way of thinking? I never converted. I came into the world this way. I was always curious. I always questioned when people told me how things were. I always questioned, well, maybe there's another way of interpreting that. I can remember, I must have been very young, lying in bed at night and experimenting with pinching different parts of my body and noticing that there'd be a sensation at a distance. So when I began reading about traditional Chinese medicine and meridians and influencing energy, that made total sense to me that you could influence a distant part of the body by needling a place. I had, from way back, a love of plants, something that I got from my mother, which she got from her mother, that eventually led me to be a botany major as an undergraduate at Harvard. An unusual choice of major. Botany was going out of fashion and was being molecular biology was shoving it aside. But that was a very wise choice for me. I had the good fortune to fall under the mentorship of Dr. Richard Evans Schultes, the father of modern ethnobotany, who was the director of the Harvard Botanical Museum. And that awakened in me an interest in medicinal plants, which became one of my career interests. And it was a real shock to go to medical school and discover that the people teaching me pharmacology had no knowledge of the plant sources of the medicines that they were teaching about, much less how they differed from isolated compounds. And when I was practicing medicine most of my time, I estimated that for every prescription I wrote for a pharmaceutical, I gave out probably 40 or 50 recommendations for botanicals. And in the years that I did that, I did not see a single adverse reaction to any botanical remedy that I recommended to a patient. I don't know if you're aware of the extent of drug toxicity in our population. The estimates are that between 200,000 and 400,000 deaths a year, just in the hospitalized population in this country, result from pharmaceutical medication. And these are not mistakes. This is the right dose of the right medication for the right patient, for the right indication, and hundreds of thousands of people a year die. That's not acceptable. You can count on the fingers of one hand deaths related to the use of natural remedies and botanicals, and almost always they're mistakes. Somehow a toxic plant has been mislabeled as a good one. And this is a gross violation of the first teaching of Hippocrates. There's a statue of him right over there in front of the College of Medicine. And the only thing we remember him for today, other than the Hippocratic Oath, are his two precepts. First, do no harm. And as I said, 400,000 deaths a year from medication, that is a gross violation of that principle. And second, to revere the healing power of nature, something that's also been forgotten. And for me, that really came home to me when I studied with Dr. Robert Fulford, an elderly osteopath practicing here in Tucson. He was in his 80s when I met him. The best healer I've ever met, produced remarkable cures of diverse conditions. He would end recurrent cycles of ear infections in kids with one treatment of gentle manipulation designed to change breathing patterns. He said that breathing was the mechanical force that pumped the lymphatic circulation, and if that wasn't working right, there was stagnant fluid buildup in the middle ear, which provided breeding grounds for bacteria. And he said you could wipe out the bacteria all you wanted with antibiotics, but if you didn't change that root problem, they'd come back, which is our experience. So one session of very gentle hands-on manipulation, the kid never got another ear infection. I tried for 2 years to get one pediatrician in this community to come down to his office and watch. Nobody would come. And that really bothers me, that people who consider themselves scientists won't look at something that doesn't fit with their preconceptions. I mean, science begins with observation, and if you see something that doesn't fit, then you change your preconceptions. Anyway, I would often hear Fulford say, first of all, people would say, it was so good to have his hands on you. People would say, when should I come back? And he'd say, you don't have to come back, you're fixed. And he also would say, you know, all you have to do is make these little adjustments and let old Mother Nature do her work. And he really, being with him, I really came to see the healing power of nature that Hippocrates told us to pay attention to. And that's really the first principle, the first philosophical principle of integrative medicine, is that the body has intrinsic mechanisms of healing. And when I sit with, healing is the rule rather than the exception. Most conditions end by themselves. And there's a famous adage in medicine that the business of a doctor should be to distract the patient while time affects a healing. And at any rate, this is where integrative medicine starts. When I'm with a patient, I'm always thinking, why is healing not happening here? What could I do from outside to facilitate that? Is there an obstacle to it? Can I supply missing energy? What can I do? That's a very different way of looking at the relationship between treatment and cure. To this day, many people have no idea what integrative medicine is. So we have a long way to go. I've always said that one day we'll be able to drop the word integrative and it'll just be good medicine. But in the meantime, we really have to teach people, no, this is not alternative medicine. We're not trying to replace conventional medicine. We're trying to make it more effective and less harmful. We're trying to shift the emphasis from managing disease to prevention. At the moment, prevention doesn't pay in our system. And that's why we are so bad at health promotion and prevention. Intervention makes a lot of money. The healthcare system in this country is a disaster, and it's probably going to get worse. Maybe it'll collapse totally. I firmly believe that integrative medicine is the foundation of healthcare of the future. And I think we here it's hard for me to bring myself to say the Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine, but here at the University of Arizona, I mean, we have a chance to really begin the transformation of healthcare. And it starts by turning out more and more people that we've had our hands on who are trained to think in this way. My goal with our integrative medicine in residency is that one day our curriculum will be in every residency program in every specialty. And whether you go to a psychiatrist or a dermatologist or a gastroenterologist, that practitioner will have learned the basics of nutritional medicine, mind-body interactions, the strengths and weaknesses of other systems of medicine. That's just a given, and I think that's a very realistic goal that will happen. We are very collaborative. We want to establish relationships with other centers and departments within the University of Arizona and outside of the University of Arizona and in other countries to have satellite fellowship programs and so forth. We have very ambitious goals. And to have a physical home where all this can happen is wonderful. It has been very embarrassing over the years. We would have delegations come from Malaysia and Thailand, and they want to see the Center for Integrative Medicine. We have this little shabby house over here. This is the Center for Integrative Medicine? Well, now we will be able to invite people into, a wonderful physical center. So thank you again. Thank you all. And I hope we'll see you again at the opening of our building. And now I have the honor to introduce Dr. Carlos Gonzalez, who will provide a blessing of this ceremony and the land where the building will reside. Dr. Gonzalez is the Associate Dean of Curricular Affairs, Director of the Rural Health Professions Program and Commitment to Underserved People Program, Associate Professor of Family and Community Medicine, and a family physician. He is also a sixth-generation Tucsonan of Yaqui and Mexican descent who grew up on Tucson's South Side and one of the first high school graduates in his family. Dr. Gonzalez, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today.
My hair is not acting right. Sorry about that. So, one of the traditions we have among those of us that do blessings is we come to you in a humble way. And the humblest way is if we have a braid, we undo our braid. So, I come to you with my hair flowing. I also have taken off my bracelets just to acknowledge my coming to you in a good way with good energy. It's an honor to be asked to do this blessing. For those of you that do not know, as was stated, my father is Yoeme, Yaqui, and my mother's Mexican. And I'm a participant at the Cristo Rey Costumbre Society. I've been a dancer with the Easter ceremonies down at New Pascua. Now, the prayer I'm going to say to you is the prayer to the 7 sacred directions. I'm a sweat lodge leader, and when we enter the sweat lodge, we honor the 7 sacred directions, which are the cardinal points above us, below us, and in the center where the Creator is. I'll be blessing you also with the sacred herbs, sage, cedar, creosote, copal, and wild tobacco. Okay, so let me start. First of all, I ask the energy of the East to come into this circle and provide vision and guidance as this new center arises. For it is the dream of many people, and now we have the reality that has occurred. And we ask that energy to come in and bless everyone here. We ask the energy of the South to come here and bless us, for the South is where we honor our families, and also we remember to keep and remain humble at all times. For if you come from a large family, you know that your family members will keep you humble, even if you have a big head. They'll pop that balloon quickly. So it's humility and the family. From the West, we ask the energy of our ancestors to come here, for without our ancestors, we would not be here. They have taught us the sacred ways. They have taught us the sacred words. They have taught us the sacred ceremonies. So we must always remember to honor our ancestors. And also, it is through the West that we have to reflect on ourselves, to look in an introspective manner to see how we can improve and be a better person, be a better human being. We ask the energy of the North to come into this circle. It is from the North that we get strength to overcome challenges, to overcome barriers, be they emotional, be they physical, be they spiritual. So we ask the energy of the North to come in and bless each and every one of you so that you can overcome whatever challenges and barriers that you have to your success. We ask the energy of Father Sky to come into this circle, the energy of the masculine, so that we always remember to be respectful of others and be responsible for our actions and be there to protect those that need protection. We ask the energy of Mother Earth to come into this circle. We ask her energy of nurturing one another. May this center be a center for nurturing, for caring, for helping others. May the two energies, the male and the female, come together so that we can have a state of balance, a state of harmony, a state of well-being. Lastly, I ask the Creator, Itonta Achi, come into this circle. Bless each and every one of the individuals here so that they may have a good day and they walk from here with good energy, and that we use that collective energy that we have here to make this a reality, to make this a center for wellness. Itonta Achi. Gracias. Ewi. I spoke.
Dr. Gonzalez, thank you so much for providing us with that blessing. Thank you. As we break ground on our center buildings today, I'd like to express sincere gratitude to our supporters and our champions who have offered their time, their expertise to make this building a reality. And we had a huge advantage in our architect and in our planning committee who saw the unique opportunity to design buildings that would advance health and well-being in every dimension. I want to acknowledge the people who did that. So the College of Medicine, Tucson, Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine, faculty and staff who told the builders what we needed. I want to thank the University of Arizona Health Sciences Planning and Facilities, Angie Souza, who has just been amazing to work with for so long, and Maura Ross. Planning, design, and construction project architect Deborah Johnson. I know we were perhaps not the easiest project in the world. Lion in Space, LLC, Henry Tom, Bob Clements, and Johnny Birkenbein, thank you so much for taking integrative medicine concepts and principles and designing this beautiful complex of buildings. DPR Construction, Taylor Fulkerson. You haven't started your work yet, but we're looking forward to it. The University of Arizona Foundation, and JP, it's been a long time coming, thank you. And LaToya, who I've gotten to work with most recently, thank you. Everybody else, the foundation's been amazing. Dean Nancy Pollock Elwood, I'm sure you were super busy, and yet you gave your time and energy to make this a remarkable building. I also want to recognize that there are many people who are not here today, a few who are here today, who were instrumental in envisioning and championing both this building, but also the program and then eventually our center going back to 1994. So you know who you are. Thank you so much, and thanks to all of you who came today for this event. And now, of course, in the spirit of integrative medicine, we have to ask you to do something, right? So for just a moment, in your mind's eye, I'd like you to imagine yourself in this complex of buildings a little more than a year from now. So just in your mind, you may hear a buzz, the noise of a group of people from the community who are taking that anti-inflammatory diet cooking lesson with Dr. Weil, and they all want to know what he thinks about all sorts of ingredients. You may notice that a group of people are going in to do yoga in the Cantor building, and they're excited to be there and have an opportunity to do something right here on campus. You may notice students who are walking by and entering into the spirit wing where they are meditating before their afternoon class. And of course, you will probably hear a buzz from our talented center staff and faculty who are teaming up to work on our educational and research programs. And so for a moment, I have to ask everyone who works at the Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine to please stand so we can honor you. It's really your commitment and your contribution, your teamwork, your creativity, and your innovation that has made the center what it is today, a world-renowned center of excellence at the University of Arizona. Thank you. Now it's time for the much-anticipated groundbreaking. So would the following people please join me for the ceremonial groundbreaking and a photo op. Dr. Robert C. Robbins, University President. I think we all get to come up. Mr. J.P. Rosniak, President and CEO, University of Arizona Foundation. Dr. Michael Abakasis, Dean of the College of Medicine, Tucson, Arizona. Dr. Andrew Weil, Founder and Director, Andrew Weil Center for Integrative Medicine. Regent Cecilia Mate, Arizona Board of Regents. Lisa Rolney, Senior Vice President for Business Affairs. Deborah Johnson, Project Architect, Planning, Design, and Construction. Henry Tom, Line and Space, LLC. Taylor Fulkerson, DPR Construction. Okay, as my friend Neelam Sethi likes to say, this is the birthplace of integrative medicine, and now it will have its temple. I hope that you'll now join us for a reception at the Health Sciences Innovation Building. It's just a very short walk to celebrate this momentous next step and to enjoy some refreshments. They weren't prepared by Dr. Weil, but they were inspired by him with his amazing recipes. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you so much for coming.